Mitra Studio.
Correct, sir.
Yeah. So, sir, shall we start?
Yes, yes. Please.
Yeah. Strength is life. Weakness is death. Expansion is life. Contraction is death. Love is life. Hatred is death. The hero who holds this ideology is none other than Swami Vivekananda, one of the iconic personalities of the nation that we all admire and inspired from. A man who personified the eternal energy of the youth and their restless quest for the truth. The one who espoused the idea of focused thought, propagated self awareness, and enlightened the path for humanity with his strong beliefs and determination. Respected Professor Shivaji Bandyopadhyay, Director NIT Silchar, distinguished faculty members of the institution, and most importantly, the students of the institution, the youths of the nation, a very good evening to all. Today we are meeting in this virtual space to commemorate the birth anniversary of the iconic personality of this great nation, Swami Vivekananda, who was a great social reformer and a very inspiring personality of the nation. Vivekananda was called by the name Narendranath Datta. He was born in Kolkata on January 12, 1863. At the threshold of youth, Narendra had to pass through a period of spiritual crisis when he was assailed by doubts about the existence of God. Narendranath Datta, or popularly known as Swami Vivekananda, spent rest of his life in India inspiring and guiding people. He has dedicated his life to guiding others for pure and true spiritual path. Today, NIT Silchar is organizing this National Youth Day 2022, commemorating the ideas and thoughts of this great social reformer, Swami Vivekananda. I shall request Dr. Naresh Babu to please share the virtual campus tour for our students to get a vibration of their virtual presence in the campus. Thank you, Dr. Naresh. I'm sure the students are missing their physical presence in the campus. The campus is waiting for your footprints to be embedded. Sooner or later, you'll be expecting that you will be invited in the campus. You'll be called back in the campus. Now, uh, every year, our Honorable Director, sir, used to interact on this very day, on this auspicious day, in order to bring the message of this great leader to the youth, which are the backbone of the society. You are holding the baton of the nation for tomorrow. Like previous year, this year also, our Honorable Director sir has consented to deliver and interact with you all and motivate you to choose the right path in life. So without any further ado, I shall now request our Honorable Director to motivate our young students with his wisdom.
Uh, Very good evening to my dear students and my colleagues on the occasion of National Youth Day 2022, which are the commemoration of the birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda. We organize this day throughout the country as the National Youth Day to depict that the path that Swami Vivekananda has placed before us has guided us, has guided the youth in the country. And youth actually does not define any age definition. Youth in mind, youth in body also. Always you find that as a youth, you need to deliver something for the society. And the campus video tour that we have shared with you. In fact, when in our first interaction with the first year students, or in these recent times in the last 2 years, when due to the corona pandemic, our campus is not fully open to the students. Whenever we start a program, we actually start with the campus tour video. It is a dream that we, all of us, the students, the faculty, staffs, we cherish in our heart, not only in our mind. A dream where we want to reach an ambition that is in a campus where there will be students vibrating, not only in the classrooms, not only in the laboratories, but also in different spheres of life, in working with the society. And in the video also, you have seen that is our students are interacting with the local villagers, spreading the message, working with them, sharing with them, and caring for them also. And also at the same time, caring for the environment. But many of the programs, that is, in fact, at NIT Silchar, every time there is a program, we do tree plantation. It is not only a ritual kind of thing, it is basically some passion that we always cherish in our mind. And today, when we are celebrating the National Youth Day to commemorate the birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda, we are taking a look back. And today, obviously, we'll be sharing the Swamiji's ideals, the thoughts, etc. But at the same time, I think the prime concern that is that are in all of your minds, whether you have just joined or whether the would be fourth semester students, sixth semester, or say the MTech first semester students or the PhD, those who joined 2021, that is for whom we have not yet been able to call themselves in the campus. So the main question that is plaguing in all of your mind, we thought that we'll be addressing this question throughout this program also. Uh, it is that uh, starting from the 20, that is the March 2020, I think around 16 of March, when we had to send our students back to the hostel, to their own rooms, on residences. We were trying to basically revive the system based on the advice from the government, from the medical fraternity, that is from the state as well as at the central as well as at the state level. Till now, our plan was that in the month of January, that is because the earlier effect of corona, that is still the second wave. So it was the peak was coming down. So and in the meantime, the medical facility in the town of Silchar that has increased manifold in the last 2 years, and our own capacity to handle the system. So that has increased. So we were planning because we understand that is the kind of queries that are coming from the students. And I think in today's program also, there are many queries in your mind. That is something like, say, internet connectivity. It is not okay in your place. You are getting it difficult to connect online. Uh, Maybe the laptop or computational facility in your room, in your home, is not up to the mark that can help you in study. Maybe the environment, the study environment in your home, you are finding it difficult to concentrate on your study. So these are some common things. So this is happening not only for students of NIT Silchar. This is taking place for the students, for the whole mankind, not only in India but also across the globe. And everywhere people are trying to come back to so-called normal situation, or what we call as the new normal situation, basically. So every time, so when say people are thinking of, so we understand that yes, the physical stress through which the whole mankind is going through, that is important. But at the same time, the mental stress of the young generation, of the students, that is the students, let us specifically say the age group that we deal with, say starting from, say, just before 18, that at 18 boundary to, say, 25, 30, like that. That is the BTech to the PhD set. So the students finding it very difficult. But at that time, we share with our students, that is, let us think about the school children, that how they are coping up. That is really difficult for them. And so when that is the students who are currently have joined the institute when they were in their class 10, that is in the 2020 situation, that is 9, 10, 11, 12, it was really a horrifying time for you. The future was not before us. That is what is going to happen. But and many of you, in fact, almost all of you who value the academics seriously, you are thinking that the kind of study that one needs to do, you are not able to do that to its fullest extent. The kind of way the examinations were held, maybe many of the students, they tell us that, okay, they don't like this kind of online examinations. We understand the thing, but above all, life is the most important part. And everywhere, not only across the country but across the globe also, the decisions are taken based on the healthcare facility in that region, and based on the healthcare facility and the other infrastructural facility in that institute itself. So, and but suddenly the Omicron came up. But okay, we know that the positive side is, that is, first of all, almost all our students, they are fully vaccinated. This is number one. Number two is that because the booster dose vaccination has started, so those of our first year BTech students, those who were in the boundary of 17 and 18 years, so they are quickly getting the dose for the juniors, that is for your age group. And so very soon, that is the kind of students, the age group of students who will be joining the institute. So we'll be finding the path uh, for that. Our target was within the month of January and February, we'll be calling the students in phases, because at every time we'll be seeing that whether our system is in equilibrium or not. Uh, and currently, there are students, we are allowing the students to come based on some priority basis. And so the cases are not very high. And we wish, but again, we cannot commit that, because the peak, as the virologists are calling up, that is in India, the peak might be somewhere in the say the first 2 weeks of February, and after that it might go down. But again, the things are too dynamic in nature. So in the meantime, the thing is that while we are keeping an eye on the pandemic situation, we are looking, uh, we are in close contact with our students, and we understand that everywhere infrastructural deficiency is one thing, but the mental stress that through which the students are going, uh, not only because of loss in their own family or near and dear ones, but because of the fact that they are confined in their own homes, they are not able to move freely. And because this is an age group when you need to interact with your friends, you need to stay with your friends, so that then you feel the importance of being there with your family, with your parents. Uh, so in the last 2 years, obviously, that is what we have seen. That is the movement of the youth of the students. They are not hampered. In fact, say for the first year students, no, after they are joining, we carry out an induction program. For last year it was completely online. This year also it will be an online program, an orientation program, where our youngest batch, that is the first year BTech students, will get ample opportunity to showcase their different skills, whichever are possible in the online mode. And very soon, maybe by the end of January, we'll be announcing such a program where you will be able to be in more close proximity. Say whether you are a painter, you are a singer, you are a dancer, you do say the short skits or dramas, then singing. So a lot of activities will be there, because say when we think of Swami Vivekananda, so it was not only the spiritual side that he was highlighting, but he wants to identify that the best in each and every person. And the importance was obviously on the physique also. That is the physical exercise that becomes an important part. So if online, whatever way, that is, we'll have to find out innovative ways of doing that. So this will be there for the first year students, and for the other batches of students also, different kinds of programs will be organizing. And obviously the dream that all of us are cherishing, that the students in phases will be called back to the campus, and wish that that will happen soon. So at the before we go further, I will request Dr. Naresh Babu to share the 12 months calendar for 2022, where we have depicted the kind of activities that we have carried out in the last 1 year. Even that was a pandemic situation, but there was some windows in between the last year in 2021, and the kind of activities that we carry out, following the social distancing norms, following all COVID protocols. So we tried to bring life back to the campus. So so this is the month of January, and you understand that this is on 26th January, the Republic Day that is celebrated. But this is basically the area where we have one cricket ground and another is the football ground on the both sides of this road, and there are huge stadium sitting gallery. And in fact, for this year, say we made a visit to the football ground, and we identified that the ground is now okay. So we have something around say 1,200 students, mostly senior students who are in the campus. So these students, along with the NCC cadets, they will be taking part in the parade. And in the video tour, we have seen the real parade situation, where in a large large ground, that was the football ground. So the students were basically the students from the different hostels. And obviously for the first year students, that becomes one of the most, just after joining. Normally that becomes the second semester for them. So you see, so next, go to the next slide, February. Nourish, next month. Yeah. So in the month of February, again, you can see that is the students along with the faculty members are out in the streets within the campus. This is the International Mother Language Day that we celebrate, because when we talk about, because in a national institute, we have students from all over the country. In fact, we have a good number of international students also. And in fact, during this pandemic period, I think in today's student set, those who are on the WebEx or those who are on the YouTube, there are a good number of international students as well. So on the International Mother Language Day, which happens to be on the 21st of February, this is incidentally the foundation day of the institute, of which was earlier the Regional Engineering College, Silchar. So on this day, in fact, you will be happy to note that in the country, we first organized at the institution level the International Mother Language Day. It was organized announced by UNESCO long back. And then after that, that is this program, International Mother Language Day on 21st of February, is being organized all over the country under the directions of the Ministry of Education. So what happens on this day? And in fact, last year, so that was a say, we can say, the COVID gap period. So when we were back on the roads again, campus roads, students singing, dancing, and so in their own attire, local attire, that is the state from which they are coming. And so because then that depicts the vibrance of the youth, the vibrance of the campus. So next month, March. Uh, in the month of March, if you many of you might be knowing, that is the 8th March is the International Women Day. Then for the last 2 years, we have organized lady cricket match between our girl students and the lady faculties and the spouses who are in the campus. So it is not only a single day event, because you know that for playing cricket, so you'll have to practice. So the teams from the both sides, they practice for at least 1 or 2 months. And so very soon, even during this period, so they'll be starting their practice, because we'll be following this principle. And on the background, you can see the hostel, one of the hostels. So this is in the playground. And so this happened last year again. So because the celebration has to continue, the show must go on. So let's move to April. That is, let's see how we celebrate it. So in the month of April, so this is basically the Bihu celebration. That is because we are in the state of Assam, and the beauty of an National Institute of Technology is that every state that has an NIT, and the students, the staff members, no matter from which parts of the country they are coming, so they become accustomed to the culture of that state itself. So, in fact, actually, the March end, this Bihu is, that is, we celebrated, but the actual day is the Sankranti day, that is the April middle. So again, you can see that is, and at the same time, you can see the lakes also. And we have such a beautiful number of lakes in the campus. And already you can understand that is the migratory birds, they have already started coming. And in fact, this lake is a most favorable one for them, for the birds, because of the, say, the water lily that is there in that. And you can see a large number of the campus dwellers. So they are celebrating. So that happened. So let's move to the next month. So then from these points, it is not the month-wise celebration, but the International Yoga Day. So this is something that we practice. So the yoga is practiced so by the students who are in the campus, the faculties also, and by the students in their own home, and they send their pictures. So in fact, not only during this induction program, when the first year BTech students will be practicing yoga in their own home and sharing their photos, and we'll have a collage and sharing that in the group. But at the same time, there will be whenever the programs like this one, International Yoga Day, are organized. So we'll have a lot of more to celebrate. And in fact, all these calendars so far, say starting from January, May to December, you can see that is the quotation from Swami Vivekananda is there, because we understand that that is the quote from Swami Vivekananda. That is the thing that every month we need to look into, because as a institute, we have young generations at every day, every time, every year. So we never actually become old. We all of us, our students, scholars, the faculties, they are youth, ever youth in that sense. And the Swami Vivekananda and his ideals actually help us to do that. Next slide, please. June. This is the mass tree plantation program, World Environment Day, June 5, generally. So we organize, and this is the picture, because last year also, so it was tree that is celebrating the international the mass tree plantation or World Environment Day in your own environment. And you can see that that is in fact, if you look into the positive, try to look into the positive side of everything, because that is some philosophy that I think we think that today's youth must cherish. That at some point you need to look into the positive side of it. So when this tree plantation program, initially we tried to organize it across the different homes, that is where our students are staying there. uh, so we thought that is the tree plantation. Earlier it was confined within the campus itself. That is the programs we are having in the campus. Our students, faculty, staffs, they were doing the plantation. And when the guests arrive in the campus, they are part of the plantation itself. And in the campus video, you must have seen that is the dignitaries coming to the campus, joining the campus, and they are planting a tree on their own. But this online tree plantation program spreads the message to the society as a whole. Because when you are planting a tree in your own locality, maybe in your in a tub in your veranda, or say in a garden beside your house. So you always share it with others, and they understand, and that okay, this is the kind of practice that the institute basically does, and through this we actually share. So in the month of July, that is, you see that is we are standing with a social distance apart. This is basically the cleanliness drive. That is also an important message that the youths must deliver to the community, and we try to deliver not only within our campus, within our stakeholders, but across the villages, across our that is just outside our campus, which we have adopted for the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. So there we spread the message, and here in this picture you can see that we are taking the pledge. So not many of them could be allowed on that place because the distancing issue, social distancing, COVID norms was there. But this is a practice that is which we do in our campus, keeping the youth in mind. Next slide, September. So August, you understand that this is again on the same place. This is 15th August celebration, and so similar thing obviously that is will happen each and every year. So NCC and our students, so they take part. Next. Here there is a tree plantation program, and you understand this time we were celebrating the 75th anniversary uh, of India's independence. So 75 tree plantations, that is which emit oxygen to its maximum extent. So this is one snapshot that is in an area where these trees were planted, and and you understand that is the planting a tree and then leaving it to the nature is not always the final thing. You'll have to care for it. So environment, when we look for it, we will have to say that we also care for it at the same time. Next, October. This is, you can say this message is basically, it shows different messages actually. First of all, cycling within the campus, cycling is obviously from the hostel, because this campus is a very large one, 625-acre green campus. So the hostels, accommodations, and the academic buildings, so obviously these are distance apart, and so there is a bus service within the campus, and that goes in the evening to the city itself. So one is a message of cycling, and another message is that this is basically again a cleanliness drive with the locality. And in the month of November, actually, this depicts an environmental event which we had in the month of November, the Northeast Green Summit. Okay. So to make the locality aware about the environment, so this is the cycling event so that took place. Next, in the month of November, so we had the annual convocation on 2nd of November. I said that if you remember, that is the 21st February is the foundation day when the MOU for the Regional Engineering College Silchar was signed. The classes started in the present campus from 2nd November 1977, and so 2nd November we organize it as our annual convocation. And this time in our annual convocation, you can identify that Honorable Minister of Education, Sri Dharmendra Pradhanji, was present. Then Honorable Chief Minister of Assam, uh, then Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, uh, then Professor K.K. Agarwal, Chairman NBA, then our Chairman of our Board of Governors, Sri Gautam Mehra, and we have made it a practice that is our alumnus, one of our alumni, they are also felicitated on the 2nd of November. So on the left lower bottom corner, so we have one of our alumni who was felicitated on that day. So this time we tried to go into an hybrid mode, because that was the dream that all of us was cherishing. So the medal winners were called into the campus. Others were given the certificates in a virtual convocation. And we expect that is because our expectations, our dream, our aspirations knows no limit. So we expect that maybe in this 2022, we'll be able to organize it in a different way. So next, now December. So December. So no, in fact, in the month of November, we organized the Northeast Green Summit, where Honorable Minister of State for Environment, Sri Oshini Choubeji. He came to the campus, and this program, this is the valedictory program. So that was held physically on the in our big stadium. So we have a very large stadium of 1500 capacity. So normally in the 1819, so uh, in fact in 2020 also we organized this National Youth Day in this large stadium, but for the 21 and 22, so we have no other option but to go into the virtual mode. So uh, uh, so now, so I'll request Dr. Naresh Babu to start the sharing the slides basically. So the 12 months of calendar, say why I shared that with you is basically to showcase you that how is the life in the campus and how was it in the last year. That is when there was the corona pandemic, some waves, but there are some gaps also at the same time. So this is the way actually we celebrate life, we celebrate youth in the campus. Now, on the National Youth Day 2022, so make it have full screen. So next slide. So again, that is the way we started from the point that we understand your mental agony, mental stress, because uh, everyone is trying to come back to the campus, and we are eagerly waiting for the students to come back. Every time that is the whole young generation is actually going through a very stress situation, not only by the loss of their near and dear ones because of corona, but because of the way the life has to be led. But say what Samiji has told us, that is, you can do anything and everything, and this is the message that is we are also taking it very to the core of our heart, because during this period, not only at NIT Silchar, but all academic institutions, they tried to see, at least at the BTech, MTech, PhD level, that is national institutes, that is the academic calendar is never disturbed, because the career of a student, that is the most important part, and that happened all over the globe. So the job placement that happened as usual, and in there was other positive angles in the sense that that is because students, they got more time in their home, for whom it was possible, so they tried to develop themselves in different other areas, and the job placement situation, I think that was much more, because at this point we want to share that is what is someone might be thinking, that is many of you might be, that is academics is actually very hard during these last 2 years because of pandemic. The classes, evaluations, examinations, they were done in a very different way, which none of us are actually very accustomed with. But what we share with you is that what is a real learning. Real learning, obviously, that is one component, is whatever are there in the syllabus, in the curriculum, you need to these things have to be taught in the classroom. In the practical classes, virtual laboratory are basically, say, for an engineering student, so this is something like, say, which cannot be the ultimate solution. uh, and at the same time, but all of us actually, we, the faculties, the students, the scholars, they learn many new things, because living up to the challenge, a challenge that no one has ever encountered before, it was not known to all of us, that is what is going to happen, that is in the 20th, say the middle of March when the thing started. So everyone was thinking that it will come down very soon, it will be normal, but then again it continued, so we became accustomed to it. We thought of the Spanish flu pandemic situation. We are trying to compare. That is when it will come down. We were listening and thinking also. And then, but at the same time, we tried to see and convince all of us that uh, we can do anything and everything, and so obviously there are issues, infrastructural issues, mental stress, physical stress, and everything. But there is the power within us. Next slide. So in fact, this is the main quote from Swami Vivekananda: "Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached." So all of you will have to identify, find out, say what is the goal that you are cherishing. And as an institution also, now when institution like us is basically a collection of youth, I should say, it cannot be defined as a collection of buildings or an environment, obviously, because the environment actually depicts the youth in the nature. The greenery, the lakes, the birds, and other parts of the environment that are there. So everyone has to identify some goal for themselves. So the students generally they may think that, okay, my joining after this one. So on one side I want to have a good job, but at the same time I want to learn some new things also. And what we see in today's young minds, that is, we want to do something innovative, and taking that cue right from the beginning, so right from the last 4 5 years or so, we have identified that the research and innovation should be the goal of our institute. And when we shared it with the BTech students, because their main purpose is obviously study. But again, because the flow of engineering is so fast, that is whatever you learn in your first year or the second year, third year, and by the time you pass out, so the technology changes, so the methodology changes, the processes, the algorithms, the systems, new and new systems come up. So how the students will be able to cope up, that becomes the main issue. Because and they are the strength of youth actually comes into being. That is, we try to give the strength with the students, and the strength that with the research and the innovative mind, that is, you can do everything. And So let's proceed, and then we'll share some more thoughts also. Next slide. I think these quotes you keep in your mind, because sometimes, say, in fact, during these last 2 years, not only during the so-called normal period, say, whenever we take a decision, in fact, now in your place also, say, when you have thought that, okay, you will be joining NIT Silchar, you choose that. Maybe there were other options before you, or those who are in their middle of their study. So you will have to take risks. And during this period, that is, whenever we are to say, we are faced with different decision making situations, with the youths keeping in mind. So we want that our students, our colleagues, they can be leader, they can be guide at the same time. So it does not matter whether you have owned your risk, or um, you have lose in your risk taking in your life. Next slide. So when you talk about take up one idea, so it is, say, it is not that on each and every day you basically follow only that idea. So the main concept, or the message is, that is, whenever you take an plan, you take a plan, you want to do something. So the idea is you complete that, and at the same time, that is, there will be multiple activities, because as a youth with so much of energy, so you will have to see that your study, your interaction with the society, your entertainment, your cultural aspect, your looking into with your family. So all these things have to be kept in your mind, and all of these have to be brought to the next step that is possible. Next one. So obviously, as we are saying that with a dream and ambition, so we need to continue with our life, because otherwise it will seem that the life is actually bleak because of the way the different, but that is the current situation is showing us. We always try to find out what is the brighter side of each and everything, because what happens now, that is in the period of crisis, we generally focus too much on the crisis. So focusing on the crisis is important, because you need to find out how to resolve that. But at the same time, if you become too much bogged into the crisis, so if you miss the brighter side of that situation, of that environment, then when the crisis will be over, so you will be thinking that the some precious moments of your life you have actually say lost, or kept aside separately. So always try to look at the brighter side of everything, and with a dream. So it is better to dream at each and every point, and have an ambition also. Next slide. So at NIT Silchar, say the message that we have shared with all of our students, colleagues, research scholars, staffs, faculty members, is that we can do it. And we can do it not only at the national level, but also at the regional, that is the Asia level, as well as at the international level. And with this perspective in mind, so we were already taking part in the national level rankings, that is the National Institutional Ranking Framework, then the Innovation Ranking Framework that came into being. So we are trying to assess our position, but at the same time, we also started taking part in the different international level ranking. Now, someone might be thinking that is what effect does the ranking figures, because these are simply numbers. And so what effect does it have on the overall progress of the institution, overall progress of the students, other faculties, the scholars? And so one answer obviously say can be the perception becomes increased. And in order to increase the perception, obviously this is a right pointer, that is the buildings need to be painted. And if my young friend have seen, it seems that the friend is in the campus itself. So so the money does not come easily because of the government grant that comes up. So you'll have to work within that limit. And so we focused on the hostels first, because this is the place where the students stay, students are accommodated. Then the academic buildings, and that has to be done in phases. And then the other residential accommodations and administrative buildings. So, and particular reference to the gym. So obviously that painting activity, so that stopped in 2020, that was planned. And so because of the corona, we could not allow that is the workers to work inside the campus, because restrictions were there. And in fact, in the current period, so whenever we are planning to open up to do renovations of this kind or that kind, where say a lot of manpower will be necessary, we had to put a stop, because there are restrictions which are say so logical, we cannot do anything on that part. And so we can never be stagnant. So in fact, I was talking about the ranking scenario, that is the thinking, positive thinking that all of us were having. And I think at this point, if the ranking infographics, so Naresh, you can share that for a few minutes. Okay, so this ranking infographics you can obviously see in our website. So I'm not going into the details, but try to look into its deep, because say uh, you are in an institution. So those who are in the first year students, you have just joined. Those who are say till some of you that is the who are in the mid level fourth semester, and as well as some so the fourth semester students, you have never come to the institute campus. So the kind of that is why you are in the campus, why you have chosen it. That is because someone has to feel proud of the institute. That is where someone has joined, because then and then only you can contribute. And you can see that there are national level ranking, and the areas are innovation. As I have said, that is one important part, and we put a lot of trust on the innovation, because and the startups. So more and more activities. So we have government level ranking, and we have the different well-known magazines also. They carry out national level. In the case of international level ranking, so you can find out that is some important areas. That is say as we have said at the beginning, we put environment in one of our thrust areas. So in the environmental, that is the green metric ranking worldwide. So the green metric ranking, so that is the UI green metric, which puts thrust on the environment, and it puts thrust on the sustainable development goals, because these SDGs, or the sustainable development goals, there are 17 sustainable development goals identified by the United Nations, and every country has identified these 17 goals as their say the path to proceed during the period of 2015 to 2030. That is the 15 years roadmap. And we at the institution level also focus on the sustainable goals. And so our on different occasions we'll be talking in detail about this part. But in the green metric ranking, in last year, our 2020, our rank was 275th, sixth in the country. And this year we have jumped to 200 position. So the thrust that we put on the environment, on the tree plantation, and at the same time, another message that we have not yet shared is that we have 1 megawatt solar rooftop solar power plant, and all our hostels, so they have the solar water heater. So we have facilities, infrastructural facilities, and at the same time, we see that we take from the nature, as that is, we work with the nature as much as possible. So this is one landmark thing, I think, for the institution. There are other rankings at the world level. So in fact, with the Times Higher Education, the QS we were eyeing for a long time. And because the institution perception is the main key factor, in fact, 60% of its marking actually comes from the institution perception. And for NIT Silchar, because many of you, those who have not yet come physically to the campus, they might be wondering that in which part of the country it is, that is how to go there, what are the connectivity issues. So this perception of an institute becomes very important, not only for the students, for the current students, but also for, say, these kind of scenarios. So QS ranking, you can see, along with the Times Higher Education and the US News ranking, I think that is also another area, because say many of you say when you plan to go for higher studies in US universities, so being present in the US News ranking, so that gives you an advantage, because then the institution is known. And so the kind of collaborations that we do, not only with the US universities, but also Europe and other areas. So these kind of rankings become important. And now the main story about all these rankings, again, the youth actually comes into the background, because these actually we do to do the SWOT analysis of our institution, of each one of us. What is a SWOT analysis? It is, we look for our strengths, and we have identified, that is, as we have said at the beginning, that is the research and innovation are basically our strength. And and about our weaknesses, we identify, and we are not going into the details at this point. Then the opportunities, that is, what are the opportunities that are coming before us and which we'll have to grab. And lastly, we talk about challenges. So in NIT Silchar, we never talk about problem. We say that this is a challenge that we need to face, and we'll have to come out of it. And always we are looking for some innovative way of handling that particular challenge. And and all of us, the faculty, scholars, students, they work together in hybrid mode, in online mode, whatever mode that might be possible. Next, again, let's come back to the main slides. And we focus on the students. So we reap to my dear students. So arise, awake, and stop, not till the goal is reached. So as an institution, when we work with a continuous flow of youths, continuous flow of young students, an institution can never stop. Can focus on, and uh, obviously we are eagerly waiting for our students to come back so that we can march towards to ensure significant intellectual contribution to India. So our goal should not be only self-centered, because we work for the society, and that is another aspect of NIT Silchar. That is, we have a Gansagor unit. We call that as the Institutional Social Responsible Unit, ISR unit of the institution. So there are villages, 5 villages which we have adopted. Our students, those who are in the campus now, in fact, during the Corona period, so they, when they were mostly online, they contributed to the PM Cares Fund a huge amount of support to the local by villages. Not only the awareness campaign or the Corona pandemic, the supports that is necessary, the care, the mask habit, and it not only became limited to these 5 surrounding villages. It, because our students were spread across the country, so they spread this message. They carried out their activities in their own locality also. So that is why that is the social linking of our students, because this is another form of learning. As we have said at the beginning, you don't learn only from the classroom, only from your friends. You learn from the society as well. And so that is why that is our students, scholars, they succeed in their journey in their life. So every day you ask yourself, we ask ourselves, that is what we can do for our country, for the world. What more I can contribute as a student? Think always that. And as we grow older, we always think each and every day. And another thing another thought that we share at this point is that, say, normally everyone becomes to reach and new heights. So how we can reach new and new heights? Obviously, say physically you can become taller, but that is not the end of the story. Because in all your endeavors, in all your thoughts, all your beliefs, all your activities, all your accomplishments, you'll have to reach new and new heights. And through that, the institution can reach the new heights. But your root, you have to be firmly grounded to the root. That is the most important part. And that what we call the linking with the society. Now, this is the way that the trees actually gain their height. They have their roots firmly grounded, and then the height grows up. And so this is the message, this is the learning that the mankind actually takes from the trees. So this is the way you can grow to new heights, you can reach new heights, and you can contribute to the society. Next. So I'm not going through the quotes. You just go through it. We reap what we sow. We are the makers of our own fate. None else has the blame. None has the praise. Next. So this is the message that we share with all our stakeholders. That is the message that we can do it. And all these things, that is whatever the institutes right from its inception have been able to achieve at this point. So each one of us in this long journey, they have their role. And no one ever thought that is we are weak because we are, say, in one northeast part of the country. But again, that is our advantage. because that means that new and new challenges are coming before us and we are learning new and new things. So we can never be weak. Next one. So this is the message. Our weakness is basically our strength. And for example, the 8 NITs which are in the Northeast region, so they are also working together. We are organizing various conferences, various research activities, internships, etc. So that at least the 8 NITs in the Northeast part, they are in close interaction with each other, and you will be finding out several occasions, because this is the way, actually, the strength actually builds up. That is the way, that is the unity is the most important part. Next. Next. So introspection is the most important part. So talk to yourself at least once in a day. Otherwise, you may miss a meeting with an excellent person in this world. And you understand that is that excellent person is you yourself. So always think and see that is what are your contributions today. And again, say tomorrow what you are going to do. Something new, something innovative, something which has a long-lasting effect. So there are short-term things, there are long-term things, but introspection is the most important part. So not only the mind, but the body, these are important things. Carry on. Next slide, please. So we are going through some of these Swamiji's ideals. Please. Knowledge is the most important component of that defines a person. The message that you are the most powerful. As we have said at the beginning, strength is life, weakness is death. Never think yourself that you are weak. And you'll have to always believe that you are the best. You can do each thing and everything. Thank you. So today, so maybe we try to share many thoughts, and maybe the various questions that are coming in your mind, because all of us actually are interacting with you. So queries are coming. We are taking care of that, and we believe that is the youth in the country will soon be able to live their normal life, maybe with the mask on, with being vaccinated and being more cautious. And we hope that in future, corona will be something like, say, cough and cold kind of thing that is quite natural in our life. And so the fear that corona has crippled us, the mankind, so similar to the Spanish flu situation, this will become an past history. But let us believe that these generation, we ourselves, senior people, as well as people like young people like you, we had the opportunity to interact, to be present in such a situation, so that the nature has taught uh, many important things to us, and we'll continue learning that. Thank you. Arif. I think one message that I saw, that students are, that is the individual societies. We'll have to see that there is some sort of a rationality, but these societies, they basically they carry out